Well, hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Adam, thanks for hanging out with me again today. And as you can tell, I'm not in my normal spot. This is actually one of the rooms in the basement of the house we're renting while we're on vacation. And you know, it's my impromptu recording room. So I did bring something fun to build while on vacation. And I got the Neo Scorcher. So I wanted something fairly simple, fairly quick to build, so I had more time to get out and run it. And I actually brought a couple more cars with me, so there'll be some more videos involved as well from the beach coming up soon. But hopefully this year I brought everything, because last year I did forget the radios. This year I did bring the radio and receiver, so at least I can control the car. I think I brought everything this time. So speaking of what I brought, we got the paint for it. Now, painting at the beach is terrible because of the wind and everything, but you know, we'll make it do. Now, I noticed in the kit, the body is blue, and in the center section, like the cab and down the center, is white. And so I bought blue and white. Well, evidently just paint the whole thing blue and stickers down the rest of it. I'm not going to go that route. We're just going to cut the windows out of the white, and we're actually going to paint it white and blue. So, you know, I don't want that big of a sticker covering up the top of the car, because, you know, the minute you roll it, you know, scrape the sticker. So we're painting that. Standard servo. Like I said, I did remember to get the receiver, brought the receiver. This comes with the torque tune motor. Yes, it does come with the torque tune motor and the Hobby Wing ESC. So we have the, you know, Tamiya Hobby Wing ESC. We'll be using that. But I'm going to stick in a GT Tune motor just to give it a little bit more speed and pep out there. You know, I want to see as much sand flying around as I can. Now, I've got some hop-ups as well. So we have, this is a rear carbon fiber shock tower, front carbon fiber shock tower. We have the aluminum drive shaft. We have the cups for the aluminum drive shaft. We got the aluminum motor mount, and then I have the full turnbuckle set for it. So I get all those put together, put on there. And then I just, for convenience sake, I bought a TRB prepackaged TTOB bearing set. You know, just to make life easier. I didn't feel like bringing all the bearings that I have down with me to make sure I had everything. So this one is going to be mildly hopped up. You know, as you guys know, I'm not a huge hop up guy. But I bought all this stuff a while ago to either put on the plasma edge, and you know, some of this stuff will cross over to the TTO2. So, you know, I bought it to where I could kind of put it on whatever. And, you know, I like the look of the Neo Scorcher. I love the Terra Scorcher. So I figured I would give this a helping hand and try to push it a little bit closer to the Terra Scorcher line than just having the standard, you know, TTO2B buggy. So what I'll do is, I don't have a whole lot of space here, but I'll get stuff laid out on the bench. We'll kind of give it a once over, and then I'm going to get the whole thing built. You know, I'm not trying to come back and stuff. I may take pictures, but since this is a vacation build, you know, I'll probably work on this for 30 minutes, 40 minutes at a time, and then go hang out with family for a little bit. So, you know, there may not be a photo montage of this. It may just be, here's a buggy. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. All right, let's go take a look at it. Well, all right, guys, so different room, different scenery, terrible lighting. I'm sorry, making do with what I got on vacation. So I did get the build finished and everything went together pretty well. Now, putting on some of those, you know, off-brand aftermarket parts, was a little sketchy and confusing, but everything worked well. So we've got it finished, and of course it looks awesome. That PS16, that metallic blue, is just great looking, and I'll get some outdoor photos with it before we run it, and that way you guys can see, you know, all the sparkliness of it. So I did go ahead and paint that center part of the canopy white. You know, I just didn't want stickers, you know, especially on these edges up here where, you know, if it does roll over, it's liable to scrape up white stickers. So all of the white up here is paint, and then I just cut the decals out off of, you know, the regular sheet to match it. Nothing spectacular on the inside. Like I said, we are running a GT Tune motor in it, standard servo, standard receiver, nothing big there, and the Hobby Wing ESC that it came with. Now, it may be a little sluggish up front because I packed these diffs full of anti-wear grease. So the front is pretty much almost locked up. I mean, it does turn, but you know, you spin one front wheel, all four are going to spin. So the front is pretty much locked up. The back, you know, does have some diff action, so the back's not quite as bad, but the front is just going to be pulling this thing along. So, you know, I'm sure once we get out for a run, the grease warms up, moves out of the way, everything will kind of free up a little bit, but it's got some grip. Let's put it that way. So the turnbuckles went on well. Like I said, the only oddities were the shock towers, and I didn't like the hardware that it came with. I'm assuming it's stainless steel, I'm not sure. But it just, no matter how I kind of fiddled with it, it just didn't seem right. So what I did is, before, it was basically telling you, you had little screws to screw through the shock tower into the spacer, and then another screw to screw in from this side to capture the shock. I didn't like that. It didn't seem like it was going to be strong enough, you know, especially if this thing rolls over and smacks into the ground. So I have one of the long 3mm Tamiya bolts going through, and the spacers are, the aluminum spacers are threaded. So basically I just threaded that on nice and tight, and then put one of the brass sleeves, they come in the oil field damper kit in there, and then lock nuts on the front. I do notice that I got different links here, so I do have to change those out. I didn't notice it until we picked it up to go filming, but this screw actually sticks out. This screw is pretty much flush, but I did get them right on the back. The back ones are nice and flush. And then basically we did the same thing. We just used long spacers, or long bolts, to space it out, run through that spacer and everything. But these shock towers are incredibly thick, so I'm not worried about the shock towers. I was just a little bit, you know, hesitant on the hardware that they gave, but I pretty much replaced all of it with, you know, known good Tamiya hardware. Shocks feel well. Like I said, all the linkages went on nice and, you know, straightforward. The center blue drive shaft and drive cups, you know, makes it look a little bit fancier and ties in with the rest of the blue theme. So what I'll do is I'm going to take a bunch of pictures out on the sand before we run it and before it gets all dirty, and then we're going to run it. Now, I'm going to try to be a little bit nicer with this one because I've already broken one since we're down here. If you haven't seen that video, you know, check that one out here. We took the Blitzer Beetle out with the Herbie body on it, and yeah, Herbie got drowned, unfortunately. Don't worry, he'll be fine. Just need some new electronics. Pretty sure I fried the receiver in it. You know, salt water, not waterproof electronics. Not a good match, but you know, we hosed it down when we got back to the house, so it's all fresh water now. So I will have to tear it apart when I get home. You know, make sure nothing's rusting, especially those hinge pins and stuff like that. They're really prone to rusting. But you know, we'll tear it all apart, get it all cleaned up, get all the little bits of sand out of it and everything. But this one, I don't want to have to immediately tear this one down. So I'm going to try to keep this one at least, you know, just in the damp sand and not go drown it in the ocean water. All right, let's go take it out for a run.